Hey everybody, this is a new episode of Superhero Deep Dive, and it's going to be a pretty good one, I think. It's not the normal one, but it's okay. This week, I am going to be talking about hero of Thor lore, First Lady of Asgard. She puts the ass in Asgard, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of anything else witty to say. The only brunette in a sea of blondes. It is Lady Sif. So let's get into it. Before I get started, I have a couple of cleaning up items to do. First, I have to give my disclosures. As always, the information pulled is from different sources across the internet. May or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero that we're talking about. Also, the reason I may miss some stuff is either I didn't feel that the storyline was really prevalent to the character in a kind of a growth kind of way. The storyline may have gone off on a complete tangent and then been retconned right back, or or to really get the meat of who the character is. I just excluded that because it went off on a tangent, and I just didn't feel like it would give a clear picture. So, yeah. Last week I talked about the Max, and I got a lot of feedback on it. So I'm super happy about that. Thank you guys. I got messages about it. So first of all, I was told that I did not, when I did the casting, I chose a current actress named Sarah Gray, a good friend of mine. A really good friend. If you listen to Outworld Fleet Radio, you'll know him as your mixologist, the hero of the Time Warp. Is Cyrnix. He called me because he is a really good friend of mine, and he told me that he was looking at more of the, I guess, 90s, early 2000 actresses. He really liked Christina Ricci or Fairuza Balk for the Sarah character, because he went into other characters. I only casted Julie. He went and casted everyone, which was awesome. Mr. Gone was going to be the guy that he was in Iron Man 2, and he played the Mandarin, like the fake Mandarin. And that's just simply because they looked exactly alike. I can't fault him for that. It's very true. And I can't remember exactly who he picked for Julie, but yeah. So he picked some actresses that were, I said the only problem with that is that they wouldn't fill the role nowadays, but in their prime, he picked great actresses. So thank you, Cyrnix. Also had a really good message from my friend Koron, and he absolutely loves the Max. And he is friends with an artist, and when he put it up on Instagram it's TN2M Podnet, I believe is the Instagram name for the Talk Nerdy to Me podcast network. He actually used artwork from a friend of his for the Max, which is awesome because I am all about promoting, artist friends. If you guys have any artwork you want to promote, you let me know, and I will put it in the YouTube videos. I'll promote it. I'll make sure it gets used for the Instagram stories, for the thumbnail for that and stuff like that. So yeah. And if you ever want to send me anything, you are more than welcome to. You can catch me on Twitter at superdeepdive and use the hashtag superherodeepdive. DMs are open. You can write on my wall. This is for any kind of questions, comments, critiques. If you have a request for a hero to be covered, if you guys hear a dog faintly in the background, my dog is freaking out, and he's kind of a bastard sometimes. I love him to death, but he does not care about my podcast recording schedule. So, but yeah, you can catch me on Twitter at superdeepdive and use the hashtag superherodeepdive anytime. Or you can email me directly at b4itall@yahoo.com. So yeah. So now I've cleared some of that up. Let's get into Lady Sif. She's got a lot of history. It was really hard to kind of go through and weed out stuff. So bear with me. She's got a lot of history. So when Sif was a child, as most Asgardian females do, she possessed long golden hair. She often played with Thor when they were younger, and Loki. So she played with them. They've been childhood friends. Sif and Thor fell in love while they were quite young, and when she was kidnapped by storm giants and made a prisoner of Hela, Thor offered his own life to ensure her release. Hela, impressed by his nobility, released both of them. Later, Loki, in a fit of jealousy, cut off all of Sif's golden hair while she was asleep. Guessing that Loki had something to do with Sif's loss of hair, Thor angrily demanded that Loki restore her golden locks. The scared Loki contacted two dwarvish craftsmen, Brock and Eitri, and they would actually, or at least Eitri would create Thor's hammer Mjolnir later. So, same guy. So they contacted Peter Dinklage and asked him to create new hair for Sif. Loki was either unable or unwilling to pay the dwarfs enough gold to create golden hair, so the dwarfs decided that for the price of naught, they would make strands of naught. The dwarves created magical strands of hair from the blackness of the night. The strands of darkness took root the moment they were placed on Sif's head and then began to grow out. So Thor found that Sif's new black tresses made her even more attractive, disrupting Loki's plan to ruin their relationship. So in a fit of evil, it backfired, and now Sif was even more gorgeous than before. I'm sorry, that's a terrible voice. Yeah. So that was a whole paragraph just on her hair. So, for a time, Thor and Sif had a falling out. And that happens. When you know someone growing up, you will love them, you will hate them. My 10-year-old son has a girl that lives down the street, and she is awesome. She's so cute. They hang out all the time, but there will be like a week where they don't talk to each other because one of them got too bossy with the other one, and they just didn't want to talk to each other for a week. And then the next week, they go to each other's house and ask if they can play. I don't even think they apologize. I think they just forget about it because kids are like that. And just take it like that could be how it is. So many years later, Thor began his career as a superhero on Earth and had a long-time love affair with Jane Foster. After this, Odin arranged for Thor to meet the now adult warrior goddess Sif. They became close companions and fell in love again. And they promised to someday marry each other. So I don't know if that necessarily means that they're engaged. Because, that's what I would think, but, they may not. It could be something different. But unfortunately, Thor's feelings of responsibility to the earth and its people often came between the two lovers. In the past, Sif tried to adjust to living on the mundane earth. Unfortunately, Sif preferred the majesty of Asgard. Now you have to think, like, Thor, Loki, Sif, and if you don't know them, it's definitely worth a Google. I'll cover them one day. But there's another group called the Warriors 3, and there are these 3 Asgardian warriors. If you've watched the movies, you've seen them. They're always going out on adventures. So you can imagine, like, it's almost like a soldier trying to live a civilian life. A lot of times it just doesn't work. When you love that adventure, when you love that suspense, you crave it, and going down and cutting down storm giants is not the same as going outside and cutting your grass. It's just not it's just not the same. So she needed more. Um, let's see here. Thor and Sif. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. At one point, Thor's former mortal lover, Jane Foster, was dying, and Sif merged her life force with Foster's, reviving the dying woman. Sif did this partially so that she could try to understand Thor's attraction to mortals, especially Jane Foster. Soon afterwards, Foster was separated from Sif when Foster was exiled to a limbo realm called the Runestaff of the Possessor. Sif and Thor eventually rescued Jane Foster and reunited her with her mortal love, Keith Kincaid. So, this is interesting too. Sif loves Thor. And she always has. Like she's always loved Thor. It is what it is at that point. You can't argue it. So she tried to live on Earth, because he loved Earth and the people there. She saw that the girl that Thor had a thing for too, was dying. So she merged her essence with the dying woman, with Jane Foster. So she saw that. And so that's a heavy thing if you think about it. Like if you had a crush on someone and you saw that they liked you, but they also liked someone else. So let's go look at Saved by the Bell. You got Zach, AC Slater, and Kelly Kapowski, right? So, but only in this way, Jane Foster and Sif were not best friends too. They just both liked Kelly Kapowski. Or they both liked Thor. So if one of them saw the other one was hurt or dying and they offered to merge themselves, that shows a huge love of not necessarily the person that they're merging with, but it shows a greater love of that person that they love. Like it shows that Sif really loved Thor, because she did not want to see Thor going through all this stuff over a mortal woman that he loved. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty darn heroic. Let's see here. Thor and Sif later came to the aid of the alien champion Beta Ray Bill, who was the guardian of a large space fleet that carried the surviving members of his alien race in suspended animation. Sif, Beta Ray Bill, and Thor drove off a horde of Surtur's demons that were attacking Bill's fleet. And Beta Ray Bill and Sif found themselves attracted to each other while the war with Surtur raged on. That's messed up, because Beta Ray Bill is awesome. I'm going to have to do a deep dive on him at some point too. Because he's this big horse-headed alien, orange horse-headed alien, and he gains the power of Thor. So she's got an attraction to that. She's got an attraction to those heroic type characters. That's what it is. Because it takes a lot. I once dated a girl with a horse face. It wasn't fun. So she showed an attraction to him. I think she showed an attraction to the heroism, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's see here. In a final climactic battle with Surtur, Thor, Loki, and Odin defended Asgard. Meanwhile, the ancient casket of winters had been opened on Earth. The warriors of Asgard, led by Sif and Beta Ray Bill, protected Earth from Surtur's demons and the renegade Dark Elves working with Surtur. Surtur and his forces were defeated on Asgard and Earth, so the day was saved. Before returning to Asgard, Bill and Sif spent some time together on Earth, Once back in Asgard, Sif and Bill defeated the Titanium Man, a Russian villain who was leading a group of disgruntled American war veterans wearing the credit card soldier armored battle suits. I don't even know what I just read. I've got nothing. I've got nothing for that. During this time, Thor had fallen under an enchantment that caused him to fall in love with the Asgardian Lorelei. Thor and Sif eventually grew further apart because of this, as due to Lorelei's spell. Thor had to abide by everything she asked, and she commanded him to strike Sif, who did not realize it wasn't really him, it wasn't really his will. So Sif and Bill eventually returned to Earth. Sif finally came to forgive Thor after realizing that Lorelei was to blame for Thor's brutality. Yeah, she got pimp slapped by the man she loves. Like, it's definitely messed up. But Sif was also impressed by Thor's heroism when he entered Hela's realm to rescue some mortal souls stolen by the Death Goddess. This also caused Sif to accept Thor's guardianship of Earth and Asgard. Alright. When the Egyptian death god Seth attacked Asgard, Sif fought along with the other brave Asgardian warriors. During the battle, Lear, the Celtic god of lightning, saw Sif and developed an attraction for her. Probably because she was the only brunette in a sea of blondes. Later, when the ice giant Ymir attacked Asgard, Lear arrived in Asgard planning to ask Sif to marry him. A worried Sif agreed once two conditions were fulfilled. The first condition was that Lear helped her find Thor and bring him back to Asgard. Lear agreed, and they traveled to Earth in search of Thor. The trail led from Earth to the Black Galaxy, where they finally found Thor. Lear got them back to Asgard in time to witness the final battle between Ymir and Surtur, which heralded Ragnarok. Wow. Okay. Can you imagine, like, going and asking some girl to marry you? And she's like, yeah, but let's go find my ex-boyfriend first. It's pretty messed up. Let's see. Thor and Odin were able to permanently postpone Ragnarok, saving the universe. Lear then had to face Sif's second condition, to defeat Sif's chosen champion in battle. Thinking that Sif would ask Thor to be her champion, Lear was stunned when Sif acted as her own champion and easily bested the arrogant Lear. That is awesome. You know, there's a funny story that this reminds me of. I have trained in martial arts and stuff like that for the majority of my life. And for a while, I took Wing Chun Kung Fu. Wing Chun Kung Fu was considered a woman's style because you train very lightly. And it was developed actually by a woman that like her village was taken over by warlords, and the warlord went to her and asked for her hand in marriage, and she made a proposal. She says, fight me, and come back in whatever amount of time it was and fight me. If you win, I will marry you. If I win, you have to leave. And she developed Wing Chun, and which is also the style that Bruce Lee first trained in. That's the mother of Jeet Kune Do. And the lady won against the warlord with this, and thus Wing Chun was born. So yeah, so it reminded me of that. Let's see here. Since then, Thor and Sif continued their close relationship, and for a time when Odin rested in the Odin sleep after his battles with the dark gods and Mangog, he declared Sif regent of Asgard in his stead. And during Ragnarok, Sif died in a battle against Thor's enemies who possessed weapons that were forged in the same way as Mjolnir. But she has since been resurrected. She's come back. You don't stay dead in the Marvel universe. But yeah, that's her history. That's her history, and that's a big history. I love the fact that she is a warrior and she's so strong. And then she's also got all these little um, quirks with romance and stuff like that too. You know, like it's awesome. It's awesome because it's a full package with it. It's not. She's very multidimensional, which is great. So let's get to her powers. Sif is Asgardian. Now, Asgardians, they have superhuman strength. Now, with Sif in particular, she is stronger than the average Asgardian female and on par with the average Asgardian male. She can lift up to 30 tons. She's got limited invulnerability, as well as advanced stamina, speed, agility, and reflexes. That's kind of the common Asgardian package. Sif is also extremely long-lived and maintains her youth and vitality through the consumption of golden apples. She's also highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat, and it says proficient in the use of cold weapons. I had to look that up to see if it wasn't just some like ice-based weapons, and all that means is that like she's efficient with swords and battle axes, shields, stuff like that. Cold weapons basically refers to things that don't have explosions, like guns, dynamite, things like that. Hand-to-hand combat stuff. She is often said to be the best fighter in Asgard, on par with Valkyrie. So that's pretty awesome as well. She also possesses the Allspeak, which allows her to communicate in any language and dialect. So, yeah. In early appearances, Sif also possessed the innate ability to teleport herself and others from Earth to Asgard. At some point, Sif began relying on her enchanted sword, which could cleave open gateways to other destinations besides Earth and Asgard through a complex array of swinging motions. That's a mouthful right there. However, during the reigning after Thor failed to truly resurrect a young girl, Sif was once again able to teleport herself and Thor away without the use of her sword. Sif and Balder relied on the Norn stones. That's a very difficult phrase. To teleport when they were looking for Thor. So it wasn't always Heimdall on the Rainbow Bridge, I guess. Relationship stuff. She almost got married to the Celtic god Lear. She's always had a thing for Thor, and Balder actually had a thing for her too. I think Loki had a thing for her too because he was jealous of her affection towards Thor. So, just saying, like, it just seems like that was there. I believe she even had a thing for Beta Ray Bill. Where they started facing that attraction. And since Beta Ray Bill got Mjolnir for a while, and now he has his own hammer. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But he's got his own Thor-like hammer. Makes me wonder if she really likes them or if she just really likes Mjolnir. And let me explain this. Mjolnir is one of those things that you have to be worthy to hold it, right? You have to be a warrior. You have to be honorable. You have to be worthy of this. So, wouldn't it stand to reason that that's a pretty solid benchmark for a female that is, for all intents and purposes, I mean, she is a female warrior. She is a warrior born. So to have someone be able to be worthy enough to hold Mjolnir is a pretty good benchmark, right? So is it the fact that she's attracted to Thor or Beta Ray Bill? Could it be that, or could she just be attracted to the fact that they were able to hold Mjolnir and wield Mjolnir, and that kind of set things in motion? Like that's her line. You have some girls that they don't want to and I'm not calling her petty or shallow or anything, but you do have some girls that are pretty shallow, and they're like, you know, I want a guy that, is 6 foot tall, and I want a guy that does this and this. Well, isn't this essentially the same thing? I don't know. I mean, let me know what you think. Um, Fun facts. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Sif has been in the superhero squad show, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and she made an appearance in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. She's been in the animated film Hulk vs. Thor and Thor: Tales of Asgard. And she was also in the live action show or movies Thor and Thor: The Dark World. So she's been on screen quite a bit as little bit parts here and there. Um, she's also been in video games. She's a non-playable character in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. She was a playable character in Avengers Alliance. She appeared in Marvel Heroes, which is like an online kind of open world game. Not really open world, but online multiplayer game. She's also a downloadable character in Lego Marvel Superheroes. She was also in Disney Infinity. She is a playable character in Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics. She was a character in Marvel Future Fight, Lego Marvel's Avengers, and Marvel Avengers Academy. Oh my gosh. And she's an awesome character. So she's getting exposure out there. So we can't really argue that, right? Okay, so that's it for the relationships, the history, the power sets. Have I missed anything? Have I missed anything worthwhile? If I have, let me know. Reach out to me on Twitter at superdeepdive. You can also, and make sure you use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can also email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. And as always, you can catch me every Tuesday wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. I have the same show uploaded onto YouTube every Tuesday morning with a slideshow of artwork for the character, so you can catch it on YouTube. And you can also catch me on Outworld Fleet Radio on Tuesdays and Thursdays and multiple times throughout the day. So, yeah, I love all of this. I love all of you guys. I love my audience. And I love when you guys reach out to me about things. So, this is my favorite part of the show. This is where I do the power expansions. This is where I take the hero and I look to see if there are comic book storylines, if there's, could we do a movie? Could we do a animated series? Could we do like a TV show? Could we do something like a mini series, like 8-10 episodes, something like that? And if so, who would you cast for this? So I was looking at this character and she's got such a fun history. And she is a woman of action. I would love to see a Disney Plus series with her and the Warriors 3. Now, keep the same actress as before, and please forgive me, I don't have the actress's name. I saw it, and I just can't remember the name off the top of my head. But keep the same actress. She was awesome. And have it take place maybe before the original Thor, or even throughout Thor 2, like through Thor: The Dark World, because there's a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes with it, with the Asgardians. So you can't do it. We've got to fit it into that timeline because one of the Warriors 3 died by Hela's hands, and I don't think he was resurrected in Thor Ragnarok. So it can't be to that, but it can be before the first movie, and throughout the second movie, maybe even before the third one comes to play, before Gila comes in, because that way it gives you a lot of area. But they can go on different adventures into the different realms. You can explore all those different areas, have comedy and action. The special effects would be awesome. You could have cameos by Thor, Loki, Heimdall, and other Asgardians. Um, and it can even have moments where it references, in the first movie where Thor came to Earth, or when they came down to help him fight the Destroyer in the first Thor movie. Um, it doesn't really have to add or take away. It doesn't have to set the stage for other movies, like other phases and stuff. It doesn't have to introduce a lot of other big bads, but it can add a whole lot more depth to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think that's important too, because everyone deserves that. And let's be honest, over the past, gosh, I don't know how many years, Marvel has been busting out these movies. They have done such a masterful job interweaving things back and forth that getting a little extra depth behind it, not necessarily new stories, just stuff behind what was going on, like stuff that helped lead up to those other major events, would be awesome. And it definitely wouldn't hurt. I mean, Marvel can put out a show of dogs pooping, and people will be looking for Easter eggs in the poop. It happens. So I think we can keep it going, and I think it'd be awesome to do that. What do you guys think? Do you have other ideas? Let me know. Um, we'll go over them. We'll go over them next time if that's the case. I'll take a couple minutes in the beginning and we'll address them because I think that's fun. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me this week. I hope everyone is blessed. I hope everyone is gonna have a great time. Be good. Be happy. Be blessed. Be smart. And if you're not smart, don't get caught. And I'll see you next week on Superhero Deep Dive. Bye bye.